Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the second annual Self-Direction Conference. My name is Amy Yedley, and I work for Values into Action and the Collaborative for Citizen-Directed Supports on behalf of the Self-Direction Conference Planning Committee. I am honored to present today the wonderful Patty Kowalchuk and Claribel Guzman, who are going to be presenting on the topic of Until You Are Understood. I'm going to allow Patty and Claribel to introduce themselves, and then we'll show you a video in a moment.
Hi, I'm Claribel Guzman. I'm from Madison, New Jersey.
And Claribel was supposed to say that I mispronounced her name in the video.
Guzman, not Guzman. Guzman.
So apologies for that. I'm Patty Kowalchuk, and I'm a friend of Claribel's. We met through work about 8 years ago, and then and became friends and stayed friends. And earlier today, we did a recording, which I think Amy's going to play. And then we're here for questions and answers and comments after.
Thank you, ladies. Wait 1 second. I'm going to share a screen to show your video.
Good afternoon. I'm Patty Kowalchuk, and I'm here with my friend Claribel Guzman. Claribel and I were just talking about that we met each other about 8 years ago. I was working for a support coordination agency, and Claribel, you were switching over from the e-record to the I-record. Sorry to bring up a bad memory there, but anyway, Claribel and I met and kind of became, I don't know, we got on pretty well.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, and so we stayed in touch over the years. And so today for the Self-Direction Conference, I had asked Claribel because her story is unique in many ways. I mean, everybody's story is unique, but her journey in self-direction is pretty great, and so I asked her to share. So she has reluctantly agreed to do this, right? So anyway, but let's start a little bit with you. So where did you grow up again, Elizabeth?
I grew up with Elizabeth. Yes.
Yeah. So what was it like growing up with a disability where you lived?
Well, my mother tried to treat me as the same as my siblings.
Mm-hmm.
At times it was kind of hard, like to, play outside with the other kids. She made sure that I was included. If I wasn't included, she would tell my siblings, you cannot play with them. Claribel is not included.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yes.
So were you the only kid like you that you knew? Were you the only kid that had physical disabilities in your area? Like, do you remember?
Yeah.
So where are you in the pecking order? Are you the oldest or
the oldest? You're the oldest? Yes.
Okay. So the other kids learned that like you were always part of their lives,
Yeah.
so they knew it from the get-go.
I mean, my neighbors were great. They were great with me. But the outside kids from the outside, especially one with my sister, she didn't want to deal with me if my sister was straight with her. So my mother cut that out.
You're not going to be friends with that person anymore, huh? So why do you think? You think she just like ignorant? She didn't understand, or
I guess she didn't understand. I mean, at that time she didn't understand that as the times went on, kids are more understanding than adults are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like right now I'm older and before kids come around and say, what's wrong? I tell them I was born sick and I can't walk. And I explained to them, they said, okay. And they go their merry old way. And then they come and they, do you need something, especially a neighbor that I used to have since he was a little boy. He used to knock on my door and bring my mail and, you know, ask me, do I needed something. But it was nice.
Yeah. Kids are cool because they just kind of take it as face value, right?
Yeah.
They don't put all these judgments or they don't start feeling sorry for you or anything else. They're just like, oh, okay.
Unfortunately, most of the time they're better than adults are.
I think you're probably right in lots of ways, right?
Yes, yes.
So what was school like?
It was nice. I mean, I started when I first came here to the city center, and then I went to a special ed school, and then I went to the Elizabeth High School, which it was funny because I was with my brothers and sisters,
Yeah.
and I used to go to regular classes, and it was nice.
So you went to specialized schools until high school and then went to a regular high school. And what spurred that on? Did you want to do that or your mom wanted to do that or there was no other choice? Like,
Well, they thought that I was intelligent enough to go to regular high school, and they had me in one class, special ed. But the teacher said, no, she needs to go to regular classes because she knows what she's doing.
right.
So thank God for that teacher. I went to regular classes.
Yeah. So, and how were the kids in high school?
The kids were great.
They were.
They were great.
Do you think that's because they knew your siblings too? Like, you know, or you just think they were?
I don't know. I never had problems with the kids in high school. I have fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Was the school, was it accessible fully?
Yes, it was. It was barely new and it was accessible. It was very nice.
Wow, that's pretty amazing because there's schools now, I know a guy who, well, maybe 10 years ago or something, couldn't get to the second floor of the school because the elevator, well, I guess they had an elevator, but it wasn't working or something crazy.
We had an elevator and they used to tell them just in case of an emergency, I think the football or basketball team was in charge of taking us down.
That makes sense. Yeah, you get your biggest kids and bring them down. That's hilarious.
Thank God nothing like that ever happened.
Right. So when we've talked a lot, you say that you credit your mom with making you independent. And can you share a little bit about that? Like what did tell me about that?
Yeah, my mother was the biggest influence on me. She always tell me, try to do the best that you can, especially when you speak to people, personally or on the phone. If they cannot understand you, you repeat yourself or tell them you had cerebral palsy and just talk slow and repeat yourself.
Were you like resistant to doing that at first? Did you want her to do the calls and stuff?
At one time I was kind of disappointed because one of my family members, I called them and I kind of heard behind the background that they told their parent that they didn't know what I was talking about. So I told my mother, so I resist on making calls. She said, no. I could understand you, other people could understand you. So if you need to make a call, anywhere you do it yourself.
Mhm.
She stopped making my personal calls, and she pushed me.
Mhm.
So she's my biggest influence,
Mhm.
and she was
How long ago did she die?
17 years ago.
17 years ago. Yeah. Isn't that weird? Like in some ways, I don't know. For me, my mom died 16 years ago. That's right. We talked about that
Yeah.
last time. Yeah.
September 25th.
Yeah. May 14th. So yeah, it feels like a long time ago and not too long ago at the same time, right?
And I still think about when I want to do something, I said, Mom always pushed me to do the best at what I could do.
Mhm.
And I'm trying. I mean, I went after graduating high school, I was at home for 2 years. I wanted to continue going to college,
Mhm.
and I couldn't go at home because it wasn't very accessible. So plus I wanted my mother to be independent and started working because she always took care of me. So I decided to go to Chester Home.
That blows my mind still.
Chester Home, which is for young adults. I started working and going to school.
So Cheshire Home, which is actually not far from here, right?
Yeah,
It's
Florham Park.
it's in more, yeah, Florham Park. And I mean, it's technically a nursing home, right? I mean,
Well, back then it wasn't.
back then it was all younger people.
Yes, yes. It really has a lot of younger people. There's a lot of changes that they prepare me to be independent, work, go to school,
Mhm.
and do. I used to go out shopping
Mhm.
and do everything what everybody could do.
Right. So how did they like transport you to college? Like how did that work? Or was it?
Yeah, they have transportation to take you to college, to take you to the store, to take you anywhere you wanted to.
So what blows my mind about it is because in a way, I mean, I get that it was like a stepping stone to be more independent in some ways, but you also had to give up some independence. I mean, like you're moving out of your home, like could you just go wherever you wanted if you wanted to? I mean, you couldn't, right?
Oh, well, at home?
No, at Cheshire Home.
Yeah, I mean, I would take my wheelchair and come to Madison and go to the stores. If I wanted to go to the mall, they would drop us to the mall and then pick us up.
Mhm.
Or I would call Access Lincoln and I would go on my own.
Okay. All right. And that was when you were, how old was this?
21, I started there.
21.
Yeah.
And lived there for how many years?
17 years.
17 years?
Actually, my goal was I said, I'm not going to stay here a year. I want to have my own apartment.
Mhm.
And that's what I was there 17 years.
So I'm not going to be here long until 17 years later.
But it happens, things happens, you know.
Yeah.
Things happen, you gotta wait for it to happen. If you want it that bad, you gotta wait.
Right. And I also think that kind of in life, disability or no disability, we've got these dreams of what it's going to look like.
Exactly.
and then reality sets in.
Exactly.
So 17 years later, how'd you end up here? This is the only apartment you've had, right?
Yeah.
All right. So tell me that story.
Later, I met with this other agency and they told me about moving, and we looked for apartments, but unfortunately it didn't happen. So then I met with Issa Seals, and the person I had, she was very good. First of all, to back things up, I went to Madison Housing on my own to choose a Section 8.
Okay. So no one approached, you decided
I
I'm doing
decided
this.
on my
Oh,
own.
17 years is enough.
I decided on my own. And thank God, because I work at Drew University, they said yes because I pay taxes at Drew. See, Churchill Home is in Florida Park, but Madison, Section 8 is in Madison. So I was lucky enough that they accepted me. So when I came with Easter Seal, the lady that I had, she helped me with she helped me to get in here, and I kind of knew what kind of workers I was hiring, so that's the way it started.
So, were you using a broker then?
I was using a broker, yes.
Right, which then just for people that are listening to this, so years ago, 17 years ago, or no, 19 years ago, they were
a broker.
Yeah, brokering was a thing in New Jersey. So using a sports broker long before there were support coordinators.
Yeah, she was very nice.
Right. And then that changed in New Jersey, and they had support coordinators and no longer brokers, and now brokers are back again. So it's kind of that spinny wheel. But anyway, just to clarify, so with the broker, you located this apartment through Section 8, which you qualified for because you were working and paying taxes. Would you have qualified otherwise? Did you have to work? Did you have to be working?
Yes, because I lived in Florida Park.
Oh,
In order to get Section 8, you used to work or live in the same town.
got it. You had to live in the same town. All right. So you were working at True, which is got it. Okay. So, and then you found broker. So one of the other fascinating things about Claribel is that you definitely win the award. I mean, I don't know if there's anyone out there, but your longest term self-hire has been with you 19 years. Holy cow. How did you find, so did you know that person?
Yes, we used to work at Churchill.
So you took her with you from Chester home?
Yes.
Were they pissed? I'm kidding.
First, I got this other girl, and she was very nice. Something went on that I had to dismiss her, so she came on board with me.
Oh, okay. So you had someone, but that didn't work out first, right? Okay. So, and then how many self-hires do you use now?
4.
4. And is there someone here 24 hours a day?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So 19 years is your longest. What's your most recent self-hire? How long has that person been here?
But Easter still, she been here. Next year is a year.
Is a year?
Yes. But I know her from before.
Right. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that. How do you find, I think that's probably a big question for people that want to self-direct is, oh my gosh, how do I find these self-hires? Like, what was your journey like?
Well, I like to hire people that I know and that I would trust, because choosing people that you don't know is very uncomfortable, and you don't know where they have it or whatever. So I choose people that I know, like my lady self-hire. she used to work for another agency. So when she quit and I didn't have nobody, I called her and she said she would work for me.
So she was working with you from another agency?
Yes.
Okay, so you knew her from that.
Yes.
And then
yes.
you called her and
Yes.
said, hey.
We were friends too.
Okay.
So.
Right. So are all your self-hires, they're either a friend of a friend or someone that you met through like working somewhere else? They were working somewhere else?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
So this begs the question, what's your key to success? Why do people stay around? Why is somebody going to hang around and work for you for 19 years? Because you're awesome?
Well, I try to be respectful, considerate. As long as they do what they gotta do, I'm not demanding. They know what I like and what I don't like. That's it.
So when you have a new self-hire come on, you train them? Do they shadow with another person?
No, I train
You
them.
train them.
I train them, and sometimes one of the self-hires, if they feel uncomfortable, they say, no, this is this way. You know what I'm saying?
No. What do you mean if they're uncomfortable?
If I'm showing them how to do something and they don't feel at ease. So if someone is here and they see it, they tell them how they do it. You know what I'm saying?
I do. So yeah. And then if you, like, obviously you need a lot of physical care. So if you tell them how you want to be handled, if they do another way that doesn't work for you, you speak up, obviously, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
And then with the other, like you were saying before, I guess another person would be like, this is how I do it, like to make it easier for them if they were struggling.
Yeah. So far, I've been showing them how to do it, and I try to do it as best as I can, and as easier as I can for them.
Yeah. So do you, how do you know, well, besides they keep working for you, how do you know that they're happy? Do you check in with them, like formally or informally? Is it just kind of like you just do it?
I just try to treat them like a friend or a family member, you know. I know when there's something going on, you know what I'm saying?
Like you're investing in them as a person, not just as a self-hire. Yeah. So things got a little sketchy during COVID. Actually, we hadn't talked in a while, and that's when you called me. What was that nightmare about?
Well, unfortunately, I had this self-hire. She used to come to you with someone. She used to come to work and take trains and buses, and unfortunately, I got COVID from her, and everybody else got COVID except one person. I didn't have nobody to work for me except that person, and then my sister chipped in. And they were both working 12-hour shifts, 10 to 10 and 10 to 10, which it was kind of hard because my sister has a family, and she was also trying to work remotely, and they were checking up on her. I mean, thank God, my COVID wasn't nothing. She was shocked because I was looking well. But I felt bad for her because when she would go home, she will have to go down to the basement. So just in case she will catch COVID, she won't give it to her family.
Right.
And plus, I felt bad because her job was asking her where she was, which this is the case if hopefully this not happen again or something else, but we need to have a backup where if something like this happens, me and everybody else that needs help could have somebody to come to the house instead of your family, because your family has family and jobs to do as well.
So do you think I mean, your sister did what she had to do for her sister, right? And
Yes, she did.
Yeah,
She
wouldn't have
did.
done it again in a
She
heartbeat, I'm
did.
sure.
She did.
Right. So what about, I mean, I don't know that there's any easy answers to this, because then part of me is going, I hear you. And I remember because you called me and you were like, you know, well, because you had called DDD and they gave you a pretty lame answer. So we're not going to go there. But you know, part of me thinks that, you know, and of course this is a pandemic. So, I mean, hopefully, you know, this is glass, but hopefully never again. But, you know, that backup, I mean, those people have families too. And those people are like, I don't know that there is an answer.
Oh, well, the thing was, as soon as I called my support coordinator and I told them I had COVID, she said she was gonna see what she could do. But when she called people and they found out I had COVID, they said no.
No. Right, right. Yeah, I think that was a lot. And or people were just kind of isolating and yeah. I mean, shy of COVID, just, you know, crisis and disasters and that kind of thing. In general, your backup has been pretty much you all work it out with your self-hires, right?
Yes.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome. I mean, you rarely are up a creek. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So for people that are self-directing and want to self-direct or thinking about it, like, what would you say? You know, nobody's the expert on this, but like, what, in terms of, you know, like, I think you touched on this for yourself, for self-hires, like the key to keeping a self-hire is to, you know, treat people respectfully, see the person that's working for you as a person, not just the body, like that whole, you know.
Try to find people, even though it's hard, but try to find people that you know and they know you also. But there's people that you don't know that they're very good to try to treat them with respect. And sometimes don't let them get away with certain things either.
Be smart, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Be smart
Yeah.
too.
Did you ever
In a nice way.
Right,
You know what
right,
I'm saying?
right.
You don't want to push them away either.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of that happy medium, because you still are, like you mentioned, like friends, but they're still paid to be here. So there's some boundary stuff going on for sure.
Exactly.
That just made me think about something. Have you ever had to place an ad?
No.
Never. That's fantastic. I mean, not that it's bad to place that.
I never thought about that, but I won't never do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you have a commitment. What about what you know, your mom has been such an impactful part of your life in terms of like your being independent. How was she able to kind of let go? Like when you moved from the Cheshire home, which she was still alive at that point.
Yeah, it was hard on her and my sister because I was always there. It was hard on me also because my mother did everything for me. And now going to a facility and having new people helping me and this and that. It was hard.
But she, I mean, you told me, because did she take the train to come see you?
No. My mother drove. The one that took the train was myself, which I did not know her either, but she was great. She was very responsible. She would come on the train, bus, Uber, which it was fast, but she was great.
Yeah. So what advice, I mean, could you give advice to, maybe siblings or families of a person who, wants to self-direct and kind of knowing what you know now? Like, what did you appreciate about your family? Did they ever say, maybe not, Claribel, maybe you can't handle this, or maybe?
No, because they really knew I wanted to go to college, working independent. Plus, I wanted my mother to be independent herself too. Start working, doing stuff. She would come to see me all the time at Chester Home. And when I moved here, she moved in with me.
Right. She lived with you for 2 years before she died. Yeah. So that was kind of nice too. Was it? Or was it like?
It was great.
Was it?
It was great.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
She used to go to work often.
So you had your space. Yeah.
And I used to work too.
So I have one last question for you. So if you were queen of the world, which you kind of are, but no, we're all queens. If you were queen of the world, what would you do to improve self-direction in New Jersey? What do you think?
Trying to have more people educated in disabilities and their needs and their needs and understand them and try to work with them as best as they can because everybody needs everybody, someone to take care of them, make them comfortable, help them become as independent as they can be. That's my.
Thank you, Queen Claribel. So thank you, and thanks for joining us, and thank you for sharing your story. Did you want to say something? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Patty and Claribel, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Claribel, 19 years you had the same support staff.
Yeah.
That is impressive. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You may have said this in your recording, but is there a secret that you can share with us that because staffing is a challenge that we hear a lot about when people are self-directing? Do you have a secret in keeping your staff with you for so long?
Just respect and patience and they know what I like and don't like, and just to keep the communication with each other together. If something goes wrong, just talk about it, not keep it to themselves.
That's really smart. Thank you. I also gather through your connecting with you today and seeing your recording, I can tell you're a very kind person and very patient person. and you have a light about you. And I think it probably makes people enjoy working with you a lot. That probably is part of the secret too.
Thank you. I love it.
What did you say?
I
I don't
also-
know about that.
I said thank you. I love
Oh, you're welcome. I liked also your advice for people that are considering self-direction and just how to improve the system in New Jersey is you had mentioned about educating people, you know, on the needs that people with disabilities have in order to be more independent and interdependent. And I know the system is moving forward for that. And that's one of the reasons we create the self-direction conference is to be able to, you know, have a platform to teach people more about self-directed services and options and choices. So thank you for your tips and your advice and sharing all your wisdom with us today.
Thank you.
I think, you know, something I would want to throw in there is that, you know, I remember the first time I met you, Claribel, and every time I've come here, including today, the people that work for you, it's just so obvious that they're working for you.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not about anything else but what you need, and they're invested in you. And even Claribel in one part of this, our conversation earlier was saying how the woman that took the train and the bus and stuff, she didn't know her before she worked for you, but she came to you through somebody else who did know you. So it's always that link of a friend of a friend of a friend kind of thing. Yeah, which I think is really important too.
Absolutely, yeah. I love how you've built yourself a network of support and friends and family. That's really, I think that is a huge contributing factor for people with when they're successful with self-direction is that support system and network, at least from like what I hear others when they share their experiences with me. So kudos to you for being able to make it all happen. Yeah. Do we have any questions for Patty and Claribel? You all are invited to unmute yourself if you'd like, or you can place any questions or comments in the chat too, if you prefer to do it that way.
Maybe not.
We'll give people a moment to respond. I know sometimes it takes a minute to put in the chat or to type out, I should say.
Kind of interesting how brokering has come full circle, like again, because that's Claribel, you used a broker in the beginning.
Yes, I did.
And then a broker was gone, and now brokering is back again. So it's kind of interesting how that kind of works.
Yeah. On the topic of supports brokerage, shout out to Eros Group, who is one of the conference's sponsors this year, and also a large group of the attendees today. So we thank you guys for being highlights of the conference. If you have a comment in the chat, thank you, and thank you for sharing with us today. This recording will be posted on the YouTube channel in the future for the Collaborative New Jersey, and I'll also include your transcript today, Claribel, on the website as well for people to be able to access both resources. Another comment in the chat, loved hearing your story and how you have had success with self-direction.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing your story today.
Oh.
We can hang out for a few moments, but I will formally say thank you so much to Patty Kowalchuk and Claribel Guzman for sharing their presentation today on the topic of Until You Are Understood. We appreciate you being here, and thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.